been playing volleyball together for a long time, and now an opportunity to play here in the national semifinals. And Seliger-Swenson able to drop it over the top.
Both teams getting caught by surprise. Collins earlier, and then Seliger-Swenson on plays that should not surprise them when the ball's close to the net and setters up in the air.
Collins sets Neal in the back, and there's the solo stop for Hannah Tapp. Quite often you'll see sisters drift to different positions, but they are both middles, dealing with the comparisons throughout their careers and also often fighting as they did as freshmen for the same starting job. And it's only served to get them both better and get this Minnesota team better.
Exactly, and in fact, Minnesota has evolved into essentially a three-middle system, the two Tapp sisters and a third in terms of Molly Lohman. And so the Tapps are playing a lot in the middle, but also some on the right side. Hannah especially, Paige has been quite versatile in where she's playing.
Santana does not get that one across the net. Point Texas. It's been a slow start for Daly. She's just 3 for 11 now, hitting sub 200. Collins. Seliger-Swenson. Tapp going right behind for the kill. There you see some of that versatility. They're able to swing from all different spots along the net.
Yeah, and you could see the previous play, Texas concentrated on Santana. That time, two blockers, they chose right. They guessed and schemed over there, had the defense and the set that they wanted to defend. Ooh, easy shot.
Santana, the tip blocked and then stuffed. Point for Texas.
So far, only one of the, that looked over the net. She has to, Brianna Sarami has to have some slim fraction of the ball on her side of the plane of the net. Didn't look like it there.
That's what Santana was arguing. There is no instant replay, by the way, here during the NCAA tournament. I've been work with it around the country in select conferences. Tapp goes down the line. Did not get it in. Point Texas.
And Hannah Tapp, number 7, is the one who's playing more opposite as Minnesota calls a timeout here.
Together quite a dynasty. And then coming up next will be Nebraska and Kansas. In 87 tries, the Jayhawks have never beaten the Huskers. And they'll have another crack at them again tonight in our second semifinal. Beth Mullins, along with Kurtz Karai, the head coach of the U.S. Women's National Team. Holly Rowe also with us. And thus far, it's been Amy Neal leading the way with 6 kills for Texas. For Minnesota, this is Daly Santana serving. She's just 3 for 12 so far in this first game.
And 3 errors, either hitting out or getting blocked. Nice block by Minnesota, but 3 for 3. She's a net 0 so far, Santana. I expect her to pick her game up.
Those are the 2 All-American outsides on either side of the net. Neal has to go from the back row. Off the deflection, Collins looking back to Neal. The libero will set Will Height. That's return to sender. Another good block by Radu. And Texas right now controlling with their block.
And Texas is not looking very surprised, even coming up with that. Very prepared for some of the deflections. That rally, the one thing that went wrong with it, lots of poor sets by setters and non-setters alike, putting the ball too close to the net, allowing the block to play a bigger role.
Back set. Thunders one cross court. Point Minnesota. We are headed to 25. You have to win by 2. It's the first of our best 3 of 5 to decide who plays for the national championship on Saturday night. Alianlis Rosado, the sophomore from Puerto Rico. Bernard had to play that deep.
Another tight set.
trying to get it out there quick, aren't they, Coach? To try and beat the block, and right now Texas isn't letting them do it.
And you know, Seliger Swenson, as only a freshman, there are going to be some jitters. Haven't had to play. She hasn't played in a match in this size arena with this size crowd before. First NCAA tournament, but she needs to pull that ball a little away from the net. Take the block out of play. There's a better set. Easy kill as a result.
You can see she was trying to talk herself up. Her teammates were giving her a pat on the backside, trying to encourage her. She's the Big Ten Freshman of the Year.
Yeah, and she set that backwards. We call that setting overhead. So far, she's looked a lot more comfortable, Beth, setting overhead to the slide and all the hits, the attacks that take place there. Much more comfortable than she is setting in front of her to the left side, to the outside hitters, Wilhite and Santana.
Looking to kneel. Santana has to just free ball that one over. Collins, the cage with the slide. Rosado has another difficult time trying to pass it. We'll bump it over. Chance for Texas. Neal on a tight set. And they'll get the bounce. Point Texas. Well, sometimes, too, and you can speak to this, card, certainly you are playing for both these setters in an arena that has a tremendous amount of space that your eyes have to get used to when you're setting that ball, don't they?
There is certainly a depth perception part of it, too. And I like how Neal corrected for you. What you pointed out was also a set too close to the net. Game with that hard work.
Texas is now 3 points away from the first set. When you win the first set in the semis, you win the match 75% of the time. Minnesota trying to prevent that from happening with Wilhite.
And you can see Wilhite ran a little inside and got the ball in a position in front of her shoulder so that she could just attack right at the block of Chloe Collins, who's only 5'7". That is a great matchup for Minnesota, with Wilhite being 6'1" against that 5'7" block.
Wilhite, the junior from Eden Prairie, Texas. Nearly got the ace. The tough serve, though, will give her team a chance. Santana with the kill. And Kate Shaw is in there right now setting for Minnesota as they make a switch coming out of the timeout and bring on the junior to replace the freshman.
They brought in a blocking substitution, Maddie Beal, who happens to be the daughter of my first Olympic coach, Doug Beal.
Well, let's see. They're talking with the two setters right there. Seliger Swenson, the youngster, to the left. Holly?
Well, just a few minutes ago, Maddie Beal was checking in as a blocker in the front row, replacing their setter, Seliger Swenson, when she was set to rotate out to the back row. But as she got to the net, the official said, no, you're too late. So they were not able to get that substitution in. So now their rotation pattern is just a little bit out of whack. We're seeing them do a little bit something different here. Hugh McCutcheon looked over at the official and said, is there a clock on this? But just a little slow getting to substitute has got them a little bit out of sorts.
They are within one here. Texas still up 22-21. The NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship coverage continues with the National Championship on Saturday night in primetime for you at 7:30 Eastern on ESPN2. For more information on the NCAA Women's Volleyball Championship, visit ncaa.com, your home for all 90 NCAA championships. And get ready for 91 because next spring, beach volleyball becomes an official NCAA sport. So they do make the change there at setter and stick with that blocker, Maddie Beal, on the serve here of Wilhite.
Yep, and they have Shao in the back. So remember, we had a situation like that last week. Texas forgot. They made a blocking sub and forgot that their primary setter, Collins, was off the court. I'm guessing Minnesota's prepared. If this ball comes up, they've got a setter in Shao to help out.
Pass Collins and Santana tried to clean it up. Now she'll get a full swing at it. McCoy tried to dig it, and Minnesota ties it up.
Early we saw Minnesota's libero being targeted. Now Minnesota is targeting Amy Neal and having some real success. She's normally a very steady passer. You could see Nicole Dalton actually stepping over toward her, giving her some help. But the ball goes to Dalton.
Reto Serrano. That one got down. Point Texas. So now the substitutions here with the DS and the blocker rolling back out, and Seliger Swenson will return with Alyssa Gaynor.
And you can see her come over to her outside hitter, Dali Santana. They're setting up a play because they've got a good matchup with Collins, number 21 at the net. Coming in a little.
Santana goes by, the block for the kill to even the match at 23-all.
That's exactly what they set up with Wilhite. Same thing they do here. And what happens is Obagu reaches the wrong way. Sometimes you see her reach to her right. Sometimes middles are tempted to cover for their weaker blocker. She did that. Santana adjusted.
We're going to 25. You have to win by 2. And now Texas is on the cusp. Set point for the Longhorns.
And Collins is in the back now, so there's not the weak blocker on the right. I'd look maybe to set back toward Prieta Serrano.
Again, they continue to pick on the lead row. Double block goes up, and Santana doesn't care. Ties it at 24. And we'll play some extra here in the opening set.
She's had the most success bringing the heat right at the top of that block in the space between in the seam. Watch her just rip this ball high and hard. Lots of good things happen when you don't hit low.
Now the freshman back to serve.
There's a better pass from Neal.
Prieta Serrano gets it through the block, and another set point for Texas. Let's see if Minnesota's going to go back to Santana. She's got their last 4 kills for them.
Now the best blocking matchup is Amy Neal, a left side blocker, so it would probably be to an advantage Minnesota.
The ace for Texas, and the Longhorns grab the first set 26-24.